Brother Reggie Adams,
Present.
Brother Greg Henry.
Also present.
Are y'all ready?
We
Oh,
are
yeah.
ready.
All right. Well, let's get it. So, let's get it. All right. First of all, again, thank you guys so much for sitting down with me again. I really appreciate your time. And so let's just jump right in, man. What's on your mind? What topics, current events? What's going on that's bothering you or on your heart to talk about?
Current events. Wow.
Straight of her moose
Straight up moose. Okay.
is going on.
Okay.
That
Talk
seems to be
me.
a big topic.
What about it? What about it?
Well, I'll start like this. I think initially, what I believe our administration was hoping is that once the bombing started and there was a sort of a blitzkrieg, so to speak, onto the populace there, that there would be some cowering or, okay, we can't deal with this or we're going to give up right away. That did not occur.
Right.
And I think the backfire to that is that prior to that, Iran was letting free flow, if I'm not mistaken, of ships going through that strait. And I think that particular port of the strait is not a long distance. So there was free flowing back and forth of ships going through that strait. And with them threatening whether either to mine that area or to unleash munitions from the coastline, it's giving people pause, because from what I've read, the insurance on those ships can be very expensive on a load. It's based on the cargo. It's based on, I believe, the weight and the amount of the cargo. And you're talking about millions of dollars just to insure and to pass through. So it's not only the oil not moving and other products not moving, it's also the additional cost that's being brought forth to ensure that if there is a loss of cargo, then that's compensated. So in countries like here, where the oil prices are going up, thank you for an electric car.
Right on. I don't have one, but okay.
Yeah. Some people are feeling more than others. Here in Texas, we're an energy state, so the price has not escalated as much. But you go out to, say, California, you go probably north to the northeast, you're going to see elevated prices in gas.
Hold on, man. Let me ask this question. You said Texas, energy state. Now, was it not a couple years ago some bad weather had your grids going down? Like, I'm like, y'all was like doing without heat and
it was 6 inches of snow.
Oh, okay.
That was on the ground for about 4 days. Because by the 4th day, the temperature rose and it was melting, even going on to the 4th day. By day, I think 6, it was basically gone, except for where, you had it piled up where it was, a nice mass, but it was gone. The roads were clear. But during that time period, and I knew an older lady that, worked at the gym. She was a retired senior citizen. She went through about 2.5 years, I believe almost 3 years after the fact of trying to deal with contractors and repairs in her home. And, when you get to a certain age, you might be on a fixed income. And it was trying. And I think what ended up happening, she ended up selling that house and moving with her sons. And I see her on social media and she's very happy. She's close to family, close to her grandchildren. But there was people who had died.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, if you're not cognizant of how a lot of people in the world not grow up, but living and even grow up, you might not be familiar with, hard times.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think you had people who had died. You had the power grid because we're not an area like, say, Atlanta. You might have one particular power entity.
Mm-hmm.
There's various entities that you could solicit service from.
Well, and I remember y'all was going through something there.
We did,
and the power grid was raggedy, and your boy left y'all. Cruz, he bounced.
Oh, yeah.
He went to
he
went to the beach somewhere.
He got caught. He got caught. He got caught.
Yeah,
which was definitely a bad look when you had people who were suffering.
Right.
Because it wasn't just like, you know, a couple of days people lost power. It was a couple of weeks. So for some folks who had lost, as well as the damages that came along with what went on.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well,
you know,
you said we're a power state. That's what made me. I was like, hold on.
It's a power capitalistic state. It's
right on.
Yeah, there is. If you're in the power and energy business, that's oil, gas, solar, wind. This is a state that embraces that, especially oil. Obviously, because this is Texas.
Okay, so that's why this is not as impacting you guys as much.
And I'll say it, we're a red state.
Okay, well, Reg, we on line with a baller, but that's cool.
Yeah. You know, the ice is not really showing up around here.
Yeah.
And my brother-in-law, we were having a conversation. He was stating that if you were really serious about illegal immigration, because this is a border state, not necessarily where I am.
Mm-hmm.
If you went to the construction where in my area is just blowing up, they're building, expanding. If you were to show up to some construction sites, you might get a whole slew, but
I
would affect the economy.
I would think that Florida's the same way, Reg. Like, don't y'all? I mean,
yeah, but they got them shook down here. Yeah, they shook. They don't. They're not. They're Ubering.
Oh, right.
They're not driving. They're Ubering.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
And they are doing minimal like shopping out. Yeah, I know a few, and they're legal, but their friends they're even scared because they've been sending legal folks back. So yeah, when they told me they're Ubering, I was like, wow. Yeah, they said they're not even trying to drive and be caught. And with this bounty, you know, they got $1,000 a head basically.
Oh wow!
Wait, what?
Yeah, for the regular law enforcement, you get $1,000 a head for turning somebody in, and the sheriff's departments are being threatened to cutting funding and stuff if you don't allow your officers to help. So the Tampa mayor was big, mayor of the, I don't want to misquote it, one of the Tampa officials was like, we're not going to do it. And then the governor was like, okay, we're going to cut your money. They bend the knee. You know, so a lot of other sheriffs are saying, we will go along with it, but that's not going to be our main focus. A lot of people have their main focus was just go hunting. I get $1,000. I get $1,000. And in Florida, we have a huge Hispanic population,
right?
And it has impacted a lot of these agricultural businesses down here because that's who they use. They use migrant workers to pick. We had the strawberries just went out. We have kumquats, the little Japanese fruit. It was horrible. Those people, stuff was rotting on the vine.
So
and the very same people who are against government handouts was going to the government and saying, "Hey, we need all these farmers. We need some assistance," which is hilarious to me.
Well, I don't know the situation on the ground, but from a distance, all I can go by is the news. And I recall on the news, a lot of them cats down there singing about how they was gonna vote for Donald Trump.
Yep. Oh man.
So
that buyer's remorse is bad. It's big time. And every once in a while, I'll post on my social media a little box of popcorn because we just sitting back. Traditionally, the Dow Jones and all of that stuff didn't affect us because we weren't factored into it.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't factored in to be productive on our own in this country. So we've been making it work since they brought us here. We have. We literally have. And it's really not affecting us. But I've been watching us go on vacations. We haven't stopped driving. We haven't stopped going out to restaurants. And you would think, with it crashing down, this is the first time in our country's history that all of this stuff, they're not targeting us.
Yeah.
I think they're trying to. Yeah. They're trying to do something. They just got voted down about the Haitian refugee thing. Mm-hmm. And what people don't understand, I had to explain this to somebody. If they would have pulled the status from the Haitian refugees, that meant they would have been able to go around and just start stopping Black people asking, "Are you Haitian?" That would have opened up the door, just like they can stop. And now they can stop any Hispanic looking or sounding person. With them pulling that refugee status from the Haitians, that would have opened up the door for them to stop all Black people. And that's why I was so thankful it got shut down. Both of the houses, and they voted it down that they're not going to pull. But it was like 300,000 or something. It was a crazy number of Haitians that would have lost that status had that bill. And they still are going to appeal it too. So we got to stay vigilant.
Ooh. Can you imagine? I mean, we've all, I assume, heard the stories and read the history of sundown towns and
yes, right.
Just the fear of just being, wrong neighborhood, just being out and about.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It feels like, I'm gonna say who, I don't know. Somebody's trying to take us back there.
Oh, definitely. They're definitely trying to go back to it, but it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen.
Well,
and the Republicans are they're tired of defending, and they see the outlandish and outrageous stuff that's being said and done, and they're voting on our side more and more. You look at Virginia; they just turned Virginia, which is huge.
Yeah.
Well, Virginia was coming for a long time. If you look at the past elections, they have voted more so blue. But I feel, and I think I said this to you, Dennis, last time. Steve O'Bannon, Republican, I don't know if he's a strategist or member, said that if the Congress turns come the mid-election, he said, me and a whole bunch of people in this room are going to jail.
I remember that. He sure did.
And as I told Dennis last time, every year in the federal government, there's certain training that you have to take. There's security training. There's ethics training. There's whistleblower training. Matter of fact, I got a notification I'm due to do the EEO whistleblower training. And some of the things that's occurring as far as monetary gains within the Congress is totally illegal. Totally illegal. And you wouldn't even have to go below surface level. I mean, it's very obvious. But the point is that there's no enforcement. There is no enforcement whatsoever. So I feel a lot of people think that if there's a changeover, there's going to be a change across the board because there are people who are doing well. It took me the second iteration to notice anytime he said something about the tariffs or anything, I was watching the markets. So I went in there and I changed my 401, and it was beneficial. And
market manipulation.
And if you just pay attention, and a lot of us in our community weren't taught a lot of things as far as the markets. We weren't taught about trusts and wills and developing LLCs if you have real estate and how to set those things up. All those things weren't taught, but I think our generation we're starting to delve into that, so that now our children will know and they'll be incorporated into that. But people are, if you're at a certain financial level, they are making money, and they're making a lot of money.
That's why I honestly believe the people of color who are Republicans, those people are like the six-figure people. They don't care what he does, as long as he keep the money, the taxes away and the money coming. I have relatives that are Republicans, and we go back and forth to the point to where now we can't even talk. I just say, it's getting hard to defend, huh?
Well, let me ask you this, man, and more of a philosophical question on that topic, right? You mentioned we traditionally hadn't been included or taught certain things, right? How do I phrase it without sounding like I'm all for it? But hear me out. So if you notice, those who don't look like us, they have played the long game, right? They have been putting things in place for decades.
Yes.
Yeah.
To the extent that right now, all of the chips fell in place, and they had the right dude come along at the right time and become the leader of the free world, who had the same ideology.
Yep.
So my question to you is, can you really fault or blame them for playing that long game, right? Because you can jump up and down and be mad about it. Or, well, let me stop the question right there. Can you blame them? I mean, it's to me, it's something to be studied, right?
I think that game started with Nixon. That was about the changeover of what we knew as a Republican Party was basically the Democratic Party.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And if you look at the presidential election, how things were switching over because of the passage of the Civil Rights Act during that time period, there was a switch in the parties. That was one of the major things. That's when the ideology of the parties changed. Okay. You also had, he took us off the gold standard to where the gold was back in the money. So there was a lot of shifts, as you said, that started during that time period. I said something to this, my family. You remember when during the first election, when Liz Cheney was on the committee and they were talking about all the crimes and things that had occurred within the party. Mm-hmm. I said, and my thing was, I'm glad you're coming to the table now. But as a person who's been in politics for a very long time, you knew what was happening. Everyone knew what this was not surprising. I'm talking for Democrats, Republicans, Libertarian, Independent, however you identify it. If you've been on that hill for any significant period of time, this should not have been a surprise to you because you have access to information that we don't, and you're seeing and hearing the inner workings of what's going on behind the scene. This was not a surprise. And I told Dennis, Reggie, the last time, one thing that the election of Donald Trump did this time, he opened up our eyes to the lack of working in our government. the shortcomings in our government. And the first order of business, if there's a change over at the midterm election, you keep things in place to keep functioning of government and businesses going forward. But there has to be some shoring up of certain things in our government. For instance, I'll just throw this one out there. A felon should not be sitting in the most powerful position in the world. That's number one.
Yeah.
Oh, see, now you're meddling. You're meddling now.
Yeah.
I think number two, I think now, since the highest position is held to term limits, I think there should be term limits on our Congress people. I think there should be term limits on the people who hold the Supreme Court. I also think you might want to expand the number of Supreme Court justices to where it is right now, from where it is right now.
Really?
I agree. We should not die in office. You don't let 80-year-old people mess with the remote control for the TV. Now you letting them legislate life and death, cases and stuff. And they're all humped over and stuff. Like, come on, man. That pawpaw and mama gone
Hey, my mom is over 80, grandma, my father's gonna be over 80, and they still got it. So
I'm not doubting that. That's not a blanket statement, but come on.
But we need to check everybody.
Well, that's the point. That's the point. I was gonna say, from my that was wild what you just said. But so I was gonna say, I feel your point regarding the parties switching and that. But if you take the parties away for a second, and you take away term limits for a second, let's move those to the side for a second. There is basic human decency.
Yes.
That you would expect at certain levels of our society. And what I think the evidence shows that it's not, to me, about parties. To me, it's about haves and have-nots.
Yes.
Because rich people need poor people to exist in order for them to be rich.
Agree.
Because if they all had the same money, then
would be Dubai. Yeah, we had to import everything.
Well, but then your financial power wouldn't be power. It would just be, you're just another dude. So then you would have to find something else. Because human beings are just like that. They want to have a leg up. They want to have, whatever. But if everybody had it, then you wouldn't have these classes. So I think that those that are in these classes want you to stay where you are. And it doesn't matter what party you're in. In fact,
I agree with that.
In fact, here recently, you'll see that there's foolishness on both sides. And people are getting caught doing stupid stuff on both sides. And people who gave the persona that they were above board for a bunch of years. But then, watch this. As soon as they express aspirations to go higher than they are, then all of a sudden there's a scandal. Right? And so I'm just saying that, even when you talk about the term limits, it could be a real short term, but if the person who's in the position is raggedy, then the term limit didn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Right? For a short period of time, they can tear something up.
Well, yeah, we're seeing that.
Right. Right. So to me, I go back to what I was talking about in terms of that long game. Right? When I said they played the long game, I'm not talking about a political party. I'm talking about the haves.
Oh, definitely.
You know what I
That
mean?
higher class, yes.
They played the long game, and the haves are trying hard to keep the power because the have-nots are becoming more educated on certain things, as you mentioned.
Correct. I was
Right?
just about to say that they were counting on us to staying ignorant,
Right. Right.
and so they can move in the shadows. But the advent of the internet has been their detriment
Well,
because now we got access to the knowledge.
you ever
And I agree
notice?
with you, Greg, about the wills and trusts and all that. We didn't. That was nothing that was taught to us. But
Absolutely.
now that we got it, people are tired of career politicians, and the current administration was the poster child for not being a career politician because there's no way on earth throwing his credentials or he wasn't qualified. He's a DEI more than anybody else.
So, Reg, watch this. I don't even know. I wasn't there, right? I wasn't there for your entire career, right? When we connected, we was both at the bottom of the ladder, right? So I wasn't there for your entire career, but I'm gonna make a bet. And if I lose, I lose. But watch this. I'm gonna bet that the closer you became, and then once you became first sergeant, I'll bet you the closer you got, the more hate you ran into.
Oh man.
See?
Yeah.
You see how that works? So the moment you begin to aspire to be better than what you are, to be more than what you are, hate begins to manifest itself. I
From
just
everywhere.
think there you go. And I just think that that's what's happening in our society with us who do not have. And I'll tell you what's even worse is a lot of times the hate comes from those who look like you, who are in your same situation.
Oh yeah.
Crabs in a bucket.
Man, and
Yeah, it's a
what's
slavery.
funny?
It's been bred in,
Watch this.
unfortunately.
And you guys know I just released a book, right? I just published a book. And I'm not gonna mention by name, but what's crazy is the sideways comments that I got from some people.
And I don't understand that. What was my initial reaction when you told me?
Oh yeah, this brother
It was
went.
excitement.
Yeah, he went and got it. I mean, he showed me a picture.
As soon as I saw, I didn't even look at what it encompassed. As soon as I saw he did the book, I said, "Let me order this to support you."
Yeah,
And
I appreciate
I've
that.
always been like that. I've never understood the concept of being a crab in the bucket. Even if you and me, my brother, if we have something going on, if you're excelling, hey, more power to you. I don't like you, but more power to you. But I've never got that. I don't even know how to run that thought through my mind. If you are out there grinding, trying to make a way, more power to you, because you're not affecting me. If anything, what it should do is motivate me
Rising
to
tide
see the brother as iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
That I should be building off of that. I know what it took to get a PhD. Not that I did it, but I told you when people in my office was doing it, they had me, hey, Greg, proofread this for me. I'm like, you wrote all this? You gotta be kidding me. Ain't no way I'm going after a doctor. You out of your mind.
Man.
Oh, how you doing, bro?
Waterboard me first. I'll take, you could waterboard me. I'm not doing it.
No, but here's what's funny about that, right? Someone who I consider to be close to me.
Yeah.
When I got my doctorate, right? My doctorate is in ministry, doctor of ministry, right? Pastoral counseling. This individual said, it's the wildest thing, man. Yeah, but are you a real doctor? Like I was like, word. So this thing behind me, man, I'm like, it took a minute to get this thing, like I was, but yeah, but are you a real doctor though? Like the mindset is you got to have a white lab coat on. You know, I don't know. I don't know what the mindset was, but I just laughed it off.
I think when people hear that, they think medical. That's probably the first place they go is a medical doctor. But there are other doctors out there.
Yeah.
When you go to a university, there are doctors because these people have shown and demonstrated an elevated sense of learning and achievement to be conferred upon that title.
Yep.
Well, but to your point, I think that that mentality, it's prevalent throughout our entire society.
Yeah.
To the extent that people are comfortable with you as long as you stay where you are.
Right.
Friends, what have you, associates, they're cool with you, but the minute you begin to aspire to do bigger, then they're uncomfortable.
Yes.
Yeah.
When we exceed people's limitations that they put on us, it makes them uncomfortable because now if we can do it, they can do it. And if they're not doing it, now they feel like, oh, it's making me look, instead of celebrating the brother or the sister that's doing it and supporting, and I'm gonna get your book too.
No. I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
But we should be, like I said, my mentality was a rising tide raises all ships. So if somebody over here doing it,
I'm gonna write that down. Write that. I like that one. Rising tide.
Rising tide raises all ships. So that's somebody over there doing it. That makes us look good. But
Reggie, check this out. When we connected again on Facebook, right after all those years, and I saw that you retired as first sergeant. You don't know how excited I was. Like, hold on, him?
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, yo, I was, cause where we,
yes,
you know what I mean? I mean, so to go from that and to see that you had made, I was like, bruh, I wish I could have been in the unit and been calling you top. Like, yo, I mean, and here's what's crazy. I know that as a leader in an organization, you got to surround yourself with people who you can trust.
Yep.
And I'd have been like, yo, if I was in that unit, we would have, you know what I'm saying? I'd have been pushing you like, yo, what we doing? Company run? Let's go. I'm up front with you. Let's get it. Like, and so I got excited when I heard that you had made it there. And I was like, yo, because, and then my mind started going crazy. Like, that was such an inspiration to me because I was like, yo, do you know if somehow I would have stayed in, and yourself, Greg, you know what I'm saying? If I would have stayed in and been able to kick it with y'all or whatever, where we would have went, you know what I mean? If we could have, man, but.
Now, when you saying that, I got restationed back at 598, which was crazy. They done remodeled all the barracks and everything.
Right,
so,
where was this located?
Fort Benning, Georgia.
Fort Benning.
Okay, you
on main post.
Okay.
So I'm an E6. I'm an E6. Getting back to stomping grounds, basically.
Right.
And I go into the battalion headquarters and I'm going in the door. Out walks Sergeant Major Wilker. That
what
messed me up.
No, you know what? I could see that. I could see that
because he was an E6 by the time we left.
I could see that.
I saw the trajectory, but that messed me. I was so excited to see him,
bruh.
I knew he was on that trajectory.
But and here's the thing: I'm not surprised. But he's one who, even though he used to kick it and carry on, he was the one who, like, he's like, yeah, whatever, we doing, whatever. But then let there be what is it? Funeral detail.
Yeah.
That brother's uniform would be you know, now he's in charge of the detail. He's that dude. You know what I mean?
He was on honor guard. He was on all that stuff.
All of that. I was like, everything that you needed to do that was like extra, you know, and I ain't talked to the brother in decades, but my point is, I saw that. I could see that in him. And, you know, what's funny is when we first met, I ain't gonna go down that lane, but the point is when we first met, we wasn't like this at first.
Right.
You know, and I think part of that was because he wanted to be down and cool and everything like that, but he still had these standards that I wasn't living up to. I'll just go, you know, you ever met somebody like that? Like, you could be way better than what you are, but you acting like, you know. And back then, man, I'm what, 20, 19?
Yeah.
Like, I ain't trying to hear that. You know, whatever. Old box head joker back off me. You know, like
he really was pushing people. He was trying to push us. He really was. Hey man, y'all need to study. Hey man, y'all need people like, man, we're going to the club.
I could see that. I'm not surprised at all. There's a couple more like that. And you know, that when I saw Anderson had made first sergeant, I was like, yup, you know, I just see it. Greg, I figured you was gonna be a sergeant major somewhere. You know what I mean? I just
I was heading on that trajectory. Because I had just a quick history. One of my close friends, he's in Saudi now, started his own company. This brother was probably one of the smartest people I've ever met. He won Audie Murphy Soldier of the Year in Europe. He beat me at the battalion level for non-commissioned officer of the year. He went on to Major Army Command and won non-commissioned officer of the year. Very smart guy. Very smart. I thought he was going to be sergeant major of the Army. I didn't think I had the political acumen to be sergeant major of the Army. I could have been sergeant major of a post or something like that, or a staff sergeant major. But I was like focused. I was looking at warrant school to go to flight school. That's where my focus was. Yeah. And I think if I was in, regardless of the past, I would have either made sergeant major going that path, because he and I would have been instructors at Fort Gordon. That's where he ended up. He was an instructor at Fort Gordon. And we both were slated for that. And or I would have went the warrant course, because at that time I would think I was the only one in Rose and I field who was airborne qualified. Because when I went to the BNOC and all of that, I was the only one. Yep. So we were definitely tracking and moving on that, because once I came back from Germany after doing, I think, 2 tours over there in the sand, I was locked in. I was like, okay. And it wasn't necessarily for rank. I was like, there's a certain lifestyle I want. The only way I can get that is get rank. Rank brings more money. Let's get it. And that was the mentality.
Well, you know, go ahead, Rich.
I felt that way. It's only been 2 people that have, I don't know, boosted or increased my spiritual awareness, so to speak. So, I'm not saying the right words, but one of my best friend I grew up with, he's literally a brother. He became a minister and a pastor. And when I saw you, because the first time I saw you, you were in front of, you was at the pulpit, and somebody took a picture of you doing like this, and I was like, Rico is preaching? Oh, I got to get my life together.
Boy, I haven't heard that name in a minute.
It took me back.
Yeah, right?
I was like, I sent you the picture. I got the picture of us at the club. I'm like,
that took me back to 89. That's 1989 right there.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard that name in a minute.
Saw that. I was like, oh yeah, it's time. Okay, it's time to get yourself together, sir. Because this 2, if God can do it for them, I know he can do it for me.
Oh man.
Brother, I was so proud. I felt like a proud uncle. I was like, wow.
It wasn't even that, because you were CIO of was Georgia State?
Chief Technology Officer.
Chief Technology Officer.
At Georgia State.
Yeah, I saw that because that's when we had connected. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Rico moving like that? I said, oh, I got to step up. And it wasn't no jealous thing. This is what I'm talking about. Okay, I see my partner.
Yes.
You know, because I think he was a class about 2 or 3 classes behind me. Yeah. When we were at Gordon, I said, okay, Rico, I see you. All right, time to step it. Time to step it up. Yeah,
I'm telling you.
You know what's crazy about that is, you know, when you're going through your journey, and I'm sure you guys can relate to this. Who you're around is so important. Like who you surround yourself with.
Oh yeah.
Because, you know, I'll just say, I told, you know, Greg, we discussed this when we separated, went our separate ways after AIT, and then, you know, everybody was going through the reclass thing.
Yeah.
I got out because I wasn't surrounded. Like, you know, every unit I went to, I was the only one who had the MOS, right? So everybody else was, they just wasn't feeling, they didn't care. Like, so, and they wasn't necessarily motivated to do anything. Yeah. So I'm by myself and I wasn't surrounded by people who was trying to get it. So I was like, why am I even still in this thing? I might as well just get out. Right? There's nothing here for me. But when you're surrounded by people who's all trying to get it and do the right thing and push. Now, I will say that I got out of the military, and the aspirations in me still pushed me to go do some things outside the military. But the point is, had I still been in and around certain individuals who were trying to get it, who knows? You know, who knows how that would have went.
Yeah. One of my mothers would always say, show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are. That's a true statement.
Yeah, that's
And we at Fort Benning, we pushed. We did push each other. Now we might have pushed each other to do some wrong stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But we pushed, and I remember like, hey, corresponding courses. Here you go. Yeah. You know, and you here, hey, study for the board. Hey, you know, I remember that. You know, and those guys, we had fun. I tell people all the time, I don't know what I did during the week, but I can tell you what I did on the weekend. Yeah. But we had fun. But we were pushing, and I spent the rest of my career trying to surround myself with that kind of nucleus, and it didn't always happen to be with like rank. It ended up being age, same age range.
Yeah.
So and then, but it was only like 3 or 4. So especially my last duty station at Bragg, it was like I had a E6, E7, had like a specialist, but we were all the same age. Our ranks, you know, and that's who I can let my hair down with, because you got to, you know, everybody looking for me for all the answers, and I need to be able to let my hair down with somebody, and that's who I found to do that. But yeah, man, we definitely sharpen iron sharpens iron, definitely.
That's right. D-Rose, so when you left Gordon, your first duty station was Benning?
Ooh, no, man. First duty station was Korea.
Oh.
I don't think that's the first place you need to send.
You do not.
You didn't go up to the DMZ,
I fought
did you?
Korea. I fought Korea. I'm glad I did. I fought Korea. I didn't get to Korea until I was 13 years in the Army.
That's when you need to go to Korea.
Yeah.
Because when you went, Korea was off the chain when I went. When you went, it was off that meat rack. It was crazy. I heard the stories because of my roommate.
Nah, Korea was unstable, and there was a lot of student protests.
Okay.
For us
being
still
going on.
Yeah, and you don't take a bruh. You know what, Reggie? Do you remember on the boat in Saudi, Canard Princess?
Yep.
Oh, you were there?
Yeah. So
really?
That's
there.
Our unit was over
there.
Our
R&R spot.
Right.
Yeah.
So we was on the Canard Princess, right? We were, I think, one of the only ones who actually got to sail out.
Okay, I didn't go. They stopped it by the time I got a chance to go.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we had to sail out because of scud situations and all that. But so you weren't on the boat with me. So I was gonna say there was a reserve unit from Atlanta that was on the boat with us. And this dude that was on the boat, these two dudes that was on the boat, was legendary. I don't know the brother's name. We used to call him Short Dog. Short, stocky, built brother with gold in his mouth, right? And there was another version of him that was with him, a taller one, right? It was like, and so I was hoping you was on the boat with me because I was gonna say, I don't know what their situation was, but I saw them in Korea too. These brothers was wild, and they did not mind throwing hands. And so in Korea, why I say you don't send somebody they first duty station, right? I didn't even know how the army worked yet, much less a foreign country, much less one that's in turmoil. So, some stuff went down over there. I'm talking about protests, burning vehicles, right? I'm having to, we get him. Not, I had to stand before somebody. I didn't have a license. Somebody was driving me to Yongsan main post.
Yeah.
It was a protest outside the gate. We had to abandon the vehicle. The vehicle got burnt up. We run into the front gate. We get in, whatever. And the driver got in trouble, and I had to come as a witness. They wanted to know why he abandoned the vehicle. I'm like, yo, it's burnt up, But as a private, I'm nervous. I'm standing up there like I just got here, man. Like I'm about to be hemmed up, like whatever. But before I even got to my unit, I guess some people who were veterans at this thing, they took me to, well, if you've been to Korea, you know about Itaewon, outside of Yongsan main post, the shopping district. There's a famous club there called the Highway Club. Everybody, all vets listening to this, they know. If you've been to Korea, you know about this. It actually, you had to go up some steps to get to it. Let me just say, I'm not a clubber. I don't drink. There's nothing else to do. I don't know anybody. I'm just there because I think it's the thing you do. And during one of these protests, we down in the shopping district, it's wilding outside, bottles being thrown, stuff happening. But Short Dog and them was in there wilding out, man. I'm talking about they was hurting people. You know what I mean? And I'm talking locals, right? And, I was there and participated in a little bit of something, I caught one, but, I did a little something. Anyway, my point is, then when I saw them on the boat years later, and I had to remind my man, yo, man, I saw you, blah, blah, blah. And then it seemed like it just energized a bunny action, because then they turned up on the boat. You know what I mean? I mean, these brothers, but why am I saying all that? Because I think we all have these wild stories of, earlier times. And then to get to a place in your life where, you're more satisfied now, I would hope, than you were with yourself back then.
Wisdom.
Right. Right. But it brings me to that point where, and Greg, I know we started with the straight, and I understand that, but
it's just a flow.
No, but it brings me to this point where I was telling you guys, where I was in a group on Monday and we were talking about purpose. And I want to get your take. If I just toss the word purpose out there to you, what does that mean to you? And what thoughts come to mind in terms of your purpose?
I had this discussion before. One of my cousins, he was going through a dilemma about purpose and destiny, and what's the difference. And I had to think. I even had to go back, tell my pastor what I told him. But purpose is what God put you here for. That's what I believe.
Okay.
And finding that purpose or accepting it for some people, that's what we here for. That's what we here for. And when you find it, I think it makes life easier. It's one of those things you'll do without getting paid for it. And I just believe that it's that thing that this is what you here. This is one of the things you're here to do. A lot of people never find their purpose.
Okay.
A lot of people never find it. And I feel sorry for those people. But when you find it, and then you move on it and you act accordingly, your life seems easier. You see people like they breezing through life. They found their purpose. Whatever it is, they found it.
I would agree with you, Reggie. It's what God has placed you here to do. And I think my son, my youngest son, is going through some transition. He got out of college, got a great job, but he's ready to move on to something different because it's just trying on him. And had a discussion with a young lady this week, day before yesterday, where we were talking about that, and she said, everyone, if you just take inventory of yourself and you find all these little things about yourself that only you know, you could put those pieces together and you will find your purpose. Well, if you just sit down and you say, okay, what am I good at? What, you just, write it down. All these little things that you're good at doing, you'll find that it's taking you in a general direction on what you can do, your purpose. As you said, Reggie, some people know that purpose earlier in life. Like I knew I wanted to be a pilot. It's just that I didn't have some of the direction. Some of the things were my fault, procrastination. I didn't move on it, but I knew that's what I really wanted to do as a young individual. Other people, they have a harder time of finding that. And it's just a matter of taking inventory to see what God has placed, what talents he's given you so you can move forward on it. And to segue on what you said earlier, that's your purpose. Your destiny is where your purpose is going to take you and where you end up. So
that's good. I got to use that. Write that down.
Well, look. Well, so the group we were in, we were reading a book, and I have to say that as a book facilitator, so the author was basically saying that your purpose changes with season. Like you might be at a season in your life where your purpose is to do something during this season, but then you're, so like say, Reg, as a first sergeant, your purpose might have been at that moment in time to direct some soldiers to keep them alive, right? Your purpose was to keep them alive during that time, period. And then when the season changed, your purposes changed. As part of that book club, it was my job to interpret and try to teach the book. But I disagree with the author. I kind of look at the question of purpose I think it's threefold, and it's not just purpose. Purpose is just one part of it. I think that in life, I don't want to get too deep, but I think that everything is why, what, and how, right? So I think that your purpose is your why. Like you said, God created you. Why did God create me? Why am I here? That is your purpose. Set that aside. The what, I think, is what we call calling. You are called to do certain things along the way in each season of your life. But then the how are your spiritual gifts. So in other words, you are always working toward your purpose. You fulfill your calling along the way by using the gifts that you have. So I don't think that you can just say, what is your purpose in a vacuum? I think you have to connect all three. My purpose, that is your destination. When it's all said and done, did you fulfill your purpose? The reason why God put you here. Yes, we should be hoping for that. But I think that if you look at the Bible, characters in the Bible lived their purpose, or achieved their purpose, I should say, not by focusing on their purpose, but by trying to live up to God's calling on them. So they focused on the calling. Am I doing what God wants me to do today, right now? And am I using the gifts he gave me in order to do those things that he called me to do? And if you look at those biblical characters, they all fell into their purpose. I don't think any of them knew what their purpose was. Well, I ain't even gonna say any of them. Jesus obviously knew what his purpose was.
Save Jesus, yeah.
Right. He kind of knew, right?
He definitely knew.
And maybe some others who perhaps God spoke to let them know what their purpose was. But I don't think we should be focused on, like, people get wrapped around the axle and say, man, I'm concerned because I don't know what my purpose is. Well, how about you start with your calling? What do you feel God is telling you to do right now, today, in this season? And what gifts did he equip you with to do that? And eventually you will hear those words, well done, my good and faithful servant, right? So that's kind of how I look at it. So
you're right. That's good. That was a good take.
I mentioned when you before we came on, The Power of Purpose by he's passed, Miles Monroe.
Mm-hmm.
And the first time I came across Miles Monroe or knew anything about him, I definitely was not walking in that life. This was Fort Gordon. It was a Saturday. And this is when they changed the roads, our MOS, I think the first time, from 39 Delta to 39 Golf. And I think we were the first NCO class to go through the course change. Okay, so we were there. So there was this white guy in our class, a couple of the brothers and this Puerto Rican brother. We came down, like, JT, still remember him. Hey, you want to, go to the mall with us? We all went to the mall in Augusta. And JT's like, nah, I'm watching this video. And there was a drill sergeant, there that had given this VHS tape that he was watching in our, our little entertainment room, with the big TV. Remember, D-Roll had a big TV there, some seats. So, we just happened to see what this guy was saying. We're looking at it, we're listening to it. And there's maybe about 3 people in there. So you go from listening to, okay, you're leaning against the wall. Okay, now we sitting. This is a Saturday now, and it's at that time when we're trying to get out and,
right,
go hunting. And I just keep it real. Come on now, stop it. You know the deal.
Yes.
So it went from just us and a few other people to fill standing room only on a Saturday.
Wow.
And all of us are young, trying to get out and go. And this dude spoke on the power of purpose that captivated all these 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old people in that room. To this day, I don't think I've ever seen something like that happen. To be captivated like that.
Right.
And outside of JT and that drill, those were the only people there I think that were saved.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. Those are the only two people that I know that were probably saved in that, or knew the concept of being saved, because I didn't really know the concept of being saved at that time. And he had a captive audience speaking on the power of purpose. And 56 years old, and I still remember that. I still remember that. The power of purpose. Power of purpose. So I like your take on it, D Rose. I like that take. That's a good take. Yeah.
As I said, the book, the author didn't quite put it that way. I just disagree. And
that's your right, doctor.
Right.
Right.
I just see it differently. Yeah. I see it differently. But yeah. So with the purpose thing, trying to bring it back anyway. When you look at when we started with the current event, the war that's going on.
Yeah.
And can you imagine, for instance, or for a moment, what the military does to people, us? You are at the mercy of these individuals who direct you to do certain things. Give you orders, you follow your orders, or what have you.
Follow legal orders.
Right on. So, but that's why I say in terms of purpose and calling, because if you get orders, your unit gets orders to go do something you may not even understand. Your calling may be to be there for those who need you to keep them alive at that moment. Your purpose probably has, I don't know. I wouldn't know what anybody's purpose is, but your calling at that time may be to keep these individuals alive. And I believe God always equips you with the gifts you need to carry out your calling.
Okay.
And you guys ever notice how, for whatever reason, you can't figure it out, but for whatever reason, people gravitate towards you and want to hear what you got to say and will listen to you, and it might be because he equipped you with that gift, right, of influence. And so now here it is. But when you're in the moment, you might not be thinking purpose, calling, gift, right? You're just acting. You're just doing it. You're taking action. And so why am I saying all this? Because I'm concerned, obviously, about the war. But what was even more concerning to me was either yesterday or the day before, I saw a story where there are sailors on ships that are going hungry because they can't replenish the supplies on the ships because they just out there, right?
Really?
They didn't plan, right? They didn't plan to be there this long. Like you said, certain individuals thought this was going to be over in a couple of days. So now they're out there and they're having to, and then there's many ships out there that they're having to replenish by other means. And, they eat well on those ships. Everybody eats better than the Army for some reason, but anyway. So
definitely the Air Force.
Well, man. Yeah. They, spoiled, man. But they're out there and can you imagine not only the ones that are on the ships, but the ones that are on land, but within range of the attacks? Everybody is just going through the motion, not going through the motions, doing what they were ordered to do. But how many actually think about those three things? Purpose, calling, gifts. Probably not a whole lot, especially when You worried about air raid sirens going off.
Yeah, it's survival.
Right.
It's pure survival
right.
at that particular period of time.
From our collective experience with the military, at least my thought on it is, I know it's some stuff that's not being put out in the media.
Oh man,
there's some conflicts going on in these units. You got a bunch of folks like I'm saying out loud what they ain't gonna do. I couldn't, because we had people doing that when we was getting ready to go to Saudi. You know, and now you're saying, oh, you want me to go over here and mess with these people? You ain't give us no directions. We just go because you say go. Yeah, it's some.
I believe I saw, and I have to verify this, and maybe you saw the same thing, that some people were protesting, veterans were protesting at the Capitol.
Yes, I saw that.
At the Capitol?
Yes. Some of them got arrested, yeah.
Yeah, they went to the rotunda and were protesting about, I guess, bringing sailors and soldiers and Marines and airmen back from over there. So
they're keeping that hush hush. They have effectively put people in place to control all the media sources outlets. So a lot of stuff, it'll slip out and it'll get, you haven't heard nothing else about it.
Yeah,
it'll slip out and it gets pushed under the rug or whatever. So yeah.
And I think that's why you see traditional media is slowly taking a back seat to these podcasts, and all you need is this thing right here, this iPhone or this Android or Google phone, and go to an area and go live, and that stuff is getting out there. And I think that's one thing people are dealing with now. You can put out information, but if the right number of people are there to see what's going on, they're going to put it out too.
And, I think that unfortunately, I guess professional journalism is under attack, right?
Yes.
Definitely.
And because of the fact that, as you said, through social media, through technology, just anybody can report on anything.
Yes.
Nowhere near qualified from a journalistic perspective to really report on what's really going on, doing the research and all those things that go along with it.
They just want to be first.
Not only, because that pays, right? Clicks and likes and impressions and viewers. So it kind of goes with the whole being questioned about, are you a real doctor? So I've had this debate. I don't debate stuff like this. I had a discussion with somebody about what they thought about honorary doctorates. Right? Are you allowed to call yourself doctor? So on and so forth. I'm not caught up in the title. I don't care one way or another. Right? But what I will say is, where the rubber meets the road, and the thing that qualifies me as, to carry the title, all that means is I actually went through the rigorous journey of actual field research, and I know what it takes to do research. That is what would separate me from someone who's never been through that. And so the same thing happens with journalism. There are journalists out there that know what it's about in terms of actually reporting on something. They have verified their sources. They have done the research. They work hard so that they can, especially those journalists that have deadlines. I got to get this out by a certain time, so they got to go do a whole bunch of research before they can put it out there. Versus Joe Blow or Joe, well, I won't say his name because I might get jammed up, but Joe Podcaster, who, well, you know what? Joe Podcaster is pretty big, so he might have a team that does some form of research. I can't speak on that. But the cat next door, I know he doesn't, right? And how many of us have seen video clips of somebody somewhere and something crazy's happening and they record it and you be like, oh man, it's a fight. They're doing whatever. And then they won't hold the camera still and they out there doing but and then you get a whole bunch of people commenting on whatever they saw. Nobody knows because there's no context because no one did research. They just was trying to get likes and build their following, and a lot of people come to rely on that as their news source. Girl, guess what I read today? And no journalism. So unfortunately, I think it's by design. I think that
because you don't know what source is true.
Right. And what you've done is you've devalued the actual, credible news sources from both ends, from the top where certain individuals have bought the conglomerate that owns them now, and from the bottom, the viewers who saying, well, I need to watch you when I can go out here and, plus this is more entertaining over here.
Yeah.
They've monetized it, and it's been monetized first. Being first has been monetized over being right.
Yeah.
And when the top officials can just say fake news, and they have a base who believes anything that they say out of their mouth, I call them the talking heads. When you turn on your CNNs and all of them, and you see them talking heads, people just believe them. And I was like, why? Nobody does their own research. As long as they're saying what you want to hear, what they would be thinking in their head, it's got to be true. It's got to be true. And that's sad part about what's going on. But I also see some of those people's eyes are being opened now. The scales are being removed.
Yeah.
And so now we have all of these buyer's remorse people coming on. Oh, I voted, but I think I made a mistake. Oh, it's too late now. We were trying to tell you.
Yeah.
Speaking of mistake, did y'all hear about the comment Tucker Carlson made recently about how he regrets having helped
Tucker Carlson? Yeah.
Yes.
Go back about 35 minutes when we started this, and I said all these people who have been in it, left or right, knew what it was.
Yeah.
So what regrets are you talking about?
The thing is this, I am all for reconciliation and repentance. I'm all for those things.
Roger that, Pastor.
But where I had issue with his statement was he said, "No, I regret helping, the president get elected. I regret misleading people." But then he said, "I didn't mean to."
But you knew you were doing it.
Right. That's where I have. That's where I have a problem.
So your apology is not sincere,
and they don't want to be blamed.
It's just like if I wronged you, my brother, and it's brought to my attention I wronged you, and I come to you, hey, I just heard this is what went on. Hey, I apologize. I didn't mean for it to come out like that. Compared to, I start to get flack for what I did to you. And just because of the flack, okay, all right, man, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Keep that, because that is not sincere. Right. So keep that. So I'm seeing this. Let me give you an example.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And let me see how I could put this. all right, because we talked about the young ladies in the Epstein files.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I don't think anyone with common sense will deny that crimes were committed. I think a common sense person, you have the evidence on these young ladies that were from, I think, 12 and a half to 18 years of age.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the age span, because it started out younger and they stayed into this, whatever it was, until around 18 years old. And then they got aged out, is what I'm gathering. Okay. So we knew there were crimes committed. I think it was the Rolling Stone magazine where they asked our president about knowing him. And I'm paraphrasing the exact quote. And he stated something to the fact that, yeah, I know him. He's a good guy, but he likes them young. Ooh. Now, stay with me. Usually back in the day, or even in this day, when you have a older gentleman and you say he likes him young, your first thing is, okay, he likes some 20-year-old or something to that effect, but going to be of age. But now the evidence is coming out, and you find now that all the young people that he liked were underage. You said you knew he liked them young, and you see that the age range were underage young ladies. So you knew what he was doing. Mm. When you are fawning over your own daughter, saying that if she was my daughter, I'd probably be dating her, that is weird to me.
That's just nasty, grimy, nasty.
See, I mean, think about it. You're saying that over your own daughter?
They know. Them files come out. A whole bunch of folks going down,
left and right and middle.
Yeah, and that is why the emphasis is on distracting us. Because every time I'm an observer. I've been an observer.
You and I both.
For a long time, and I've noticed every time something pops up with them files, something crazy pops up. So I'm also a conspiracy theorist person. So, being the other conspiracy theorist people, we're thinking that if it gets to a point to where they can't control the narrative, we're going to have we're going to have a false flag incident like 9/11. And that will totally refocus everybody in patriotism. You know how much patriotism happened? How many soldiers and people joined the military after 9/11? It totally focused. It brought everybody together, blacks, whites, cats, dogs. We was all kumbaya on it because of that.
That's what Israel did, right? You know that happened in Israel.
Yep.
Like with the current state of affairs, Netanyahu was coming to the end of his term and was getting jammed up for some crime.
And was funding Hamas through Qatar. And I had to shut somebody down at the gym when this was going on. He's like, well, what do you think about, what's going on with Israel people? The attack was heinous. No one would disagree with that when those 1,000 people had taken off. But I broke it down to them like this. I'm Israel. You're my people. This is our enemy. I'm giving this country money to give to our enemy who attacked us. And do you think Israel has one of the best intelligence agency on the planet? It's them, it's us, CIA, and it's MI6, the British. You remember when those pagers started blowing up?
Right.
You mean to tell me a country who could infiltrate a manufacturer of these devices over a 15-year period set explosives in them at a certain prescribed time and didn't see this attack coming? I don't believe it. They decimated.
Just like us in Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
It came out later that we knew.
We knew. That's not a secret. We knew.
Yep. And they knew. To your point. They knew.
And so that whole land has been leveled. And I think that they want to go in there. They want to rebuild it. They want to put up luxury space in that area and move the current individuals totally out or into one consolidated spot where you'll be forced to stay. And my son, and we had a discussion, and he would identify as a Christian, but he said, you know what? I have a hard time with some of these people who are prescribing to be Christians and think what's going on over there is right. He said, I've known and this is him talking. He said, I know the Bible. I've read it three times back to front. I know it somewhat, but you could tell there was a troubling on him where you have people who state that, they're Christian, but if we don't look the same, it's going to be a problem as far as getting on or talking to you.
Evangelicals,
yeah. It's a hard take. Yep. People are not going to listen to what you say; they're going to see what you do. So it's a hard take.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I think one of the things that gets under my skin right now is that you have people who defend the country of Israel and try to do it from a biblical perspective. Those are God's people. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, don't you tempt me. Don't you tempt me.
I'm not going down. Look, I'm not going down that path because I don't need my phone blowing up.
Don't you tempt me, brother.
You just be a good moderator. That's what you're doing.
I'm not. But that bothers me. And
before you go on, I'll just say I've been to the pyramids. I've been inside the pyramids.
Okay.
I've been to the Egyptian Museum. I've seen the artifacts. Okay.
Yeah. No doubt.
Oh, I am woke. And that's all I'll say.
Oh, man. I guess that falls in the category to me, right, of there's certain groups on this planet that will hijack a term for their use. Evangelical is a term that was hijacked.
Yep.
For their use.
Woke was a term that was hijacked.
It was hijacked.
For their use.
The term Jew has been hijacked. The country of Israel that was formed very recently,
1940s,
was hijacked. The name of the country. And remember when I told you they played the long game?
Yeah.
You see how that works?
Mm-hmm.
Here it is, decades later. There's individuals who were willing to die on that hill. Like, that's the people. That's the people of Israel. You know what I mean? So remember the question I asked was, can you really blame somebody for playing the long game? Because it's almost something that needs to be studied, right? Like, y'all jokers did a pretty good job with this foolishness.
They got some good PR.
Yeah. Y'all did some. I'm talking all aspects of these things because I'll put it this way. Real quick, years ago, someone introduced me to the book, The Art of War. Mm-hmm. And And they explained this story to me where some ancient Chinese dynasties were at war with each other. And one dynasty could not beat the other one. But the one that could not beat the other one, what they did was they played the long game. What they did was they did something to sterilize the women of the other dynasty. So over time, the population shrunk. That's long game. That's like, I can't beat you today, but my son's going to be here and you won't have one. That takes forward thinking. So somehow I forgot how they did it, but they sterilized them. And I don't know if it was something they put in the water. I don't know what they did. But so you're beating me today, but don't worry. In a couple of generations, we'll own all this because you're not going to have, a population that's going to be able to keep up with us. That happens here too, right? We've talked about how our community has these aspirations of go to school to get a good job. Other communities teach go to school so you can create jobs. In other words, entrepreneurship.
Sure. Yeah.
So we end up being generations of human resource for other people's generations who are looking for, there you go, they're looking for workers. And we gladly feed them. Go to school so you can get that good job. Or better yet, look, good government job. But others teach their kids, here's how you build business, and then look for the best workers to come work for you. That's the long game.
Yeah, that's the long game. I think that's something I've seen from my travels, and I picked up on that many years ago. I watched when I would go, you could go to Egypt or any country abroad, and you notice if they come to the United States, they're more entrepreneurial than we are. Because that's the mindset. It's not a mindset of working for someone else. They'll take whatever skill set or knowledge that they have, and they'll parlay that into a business to earn themselves income instead of taking that talent and resources that they have and working for someone else.
Watch this. Our government helps them to do that.
Definitely.
Helps them to do that.
About to say that.
Yeah, our government gives them grants so that they can do that. And so Saudi, when we were in Saudi, I keep thinking that this brother was with me everywhere, but I don't know if he was with me this time. But the first time I came across this and was educated on it was at the Dairy Queen in Saudi. We talking to the brothers that was running the Dairy Queen, and he explained how they had family in the U.S. because the U.S. government gives them grants to open up a Dairy Queen over there. I say over there because we were in Saudi. And notice that in that Dairy Queen, notice all the employees. That's family.
Yep.
So they come over. The government gave them the grant to open up the Dairy Queen. They bring their family members over on visas to work. And as long as they are entrepreneurs, they can get these visas. So now their family members go out and open up Dairy Queens. And they continue the process. And it's our government that was funding it.
Yep. And they get tax breaks.
All of that. Yeah. And I'm like, but here in the U.S., it is so hard. We're not coming through the same channels that they are for us to open businesses over here, right? They've got a channel that they can come through. We don't get that same opportunity. So guess what? We're trying to go work for them. Now, furthermore, something that breaks my heart, man. How many times have you gone to a high school graduation, kids walking across the stage, family going crazy because they made it to the finish line?
Yeah.
Am I lying? I mean, it's like
Yeah.
they clapping, they going crazy, they in the aisles doing cartwheels. People got to ask them to calm down for a minute. Can we please? Because their kid made it to the finish line, graduating high school. I'm like, bruh, do they know that that's the starting block? This is not the finish line.
That's just the beginning.
And that's the beginning. Yeah.
But their mindset is, you get that high school diploma, you can get you a good job.
Yep.
And then if there's others who are more further along, you go get that college degree so you can get that good job.
That's the lie.
Meanwhile, folks coming from other countries getting funding to open up these businesses, and that's where you're going to end up working for them.
Yep.
Long game, brother. It's the long game.
The oppressed will never allow, the oppressors will never allow the oppressed to gain. That is not, it's not in their good. It's not in their best interest.
The long game is to change the mindset to where instead of thinking within this small box, you need to think outside of the box and start pushing entrepreneurship. That should be pushed. Just like how growing up we were taught, go to school, do whatever, get a good job, work 25, 30 years. But one thing, and me and my son, we had the discussion, these young people, that next generation, they're like, oh no, we ain't doing that. Nope. We ain't working no 25, 30 years for some gold watch or whatever. Right. We're trying to get it right now. And they're trying to do it smarter than we are. And I admire that.
Trying to be influencers though.
But even talking with that lady who talked to Donna, she was in journalism. And she said that the time of the influencers, I think, are going by the wayside. And here's what I took from it. People are tired. I think people are, because you cannot sometimes determine what is real and what is not. I think people are really getting tired of that influencer. Yeah, it's oversaturated. She said, even in the market, companies are not necessarily looking for a whole slew of influencers. They're focusing on a core group of individuals that will push their product and be well engaged within their product instead of going for this broad net. I think what's going to happen, I think we're going to see more focus on what's out there. And you're not going to see the level of influencers that were there. We're not saying that they're going to disappear, but I think there's going to be a narrower focus to what's going on in society. I think all of us, this young lady that I went to school with gave a testimony of, it went hand in hand with this other brother I follow who's from Detroit. He lives there in Houston, to where basically she got out, got a good government job, but was on that probationary period. She from the DMV. Somebody went sideways on her and she had to get sideways with them. And so she got removed. She said she was on assistance for like 6 months, but she had a skill set. She could do hair.
Okay.
Long story short, she ended up opening up her own shop. And then when COVID came, she had people coming there. She was traveling. To where now she's doing very well. And that was over a 30-year span. And the brother says, he's a big real estate guy. He was a executive in the automotive industry, decent level executive. I'm sure he's probably making $200,000+ a year, plus bonuses. He walked away from it, parlayed the money he had into real estate. And I would say he has a minimum of 30+ doors, minimum. So he said, and he has investments, he has gold, he has silver, that type of thing. And he said, you're either going to and I'm looking at both of them, and this is the point they were trying to make. You're either going to be an entrepreneur willingly, or you're going to be forced to be an entrepreneur in some type of capacity, to where your skill set, you're going to be providing services for different entities, using your talents. You expressed, D-Rose, what are your talents? What God has given you, and start to utilize those talents to parlay that into some type of business opportunity, to where you're not working for somebody else. So
that's why I encouraged you guys before we got started, right? Get your stuff right, because no. But here's the thing. When we talk about influencers, right? Everybody that's in this podcast space, they want to blow up. They want to have viewership. They want to have all these things. Not me, really, right? I don't get into all that. I just want to. I have a passion for having conversations where people express what's on their mind. My podcast is called Urban Christian Veterans for a reason. It's urban, right? For lack of a better term, I would say veterans of color that are believers. And I believe we have a perspective. And as long as there is a military and then there are conflicts, we will have a perspective that is unique to, I would say, other veteran groups. That's why I do this. And my hope is to reach those who can relate, to hear you guys and your opinions, to where they can say, you know what, me too. I can relate. I thought it was just me. So that's why sometimes I'll bring up certain topics where it hits us a little differently.
Yeah.
Because we've already said some things on this episode tonight that I believe other veterans groups would not be able to relate to. So that's why I do what I do. And it's not about a whole bunch of, I don't consider myself trying to be an influencer. I consider myself just trying to allow you to get your story out and your perspective out.
Having meaningful conversations.
Conversations, and hopefully allow others who can relate to know they're not alone. We think this way too.
Right.
So that's what that's about. So, and I still encourage you, hey, Reg, man, get your lights straight. Get your get your
Yeah, we get it.
Let's go to get you set up right.
I think I've been asked to speak to a lot of kids, a lot of my friends, kids thinking about going to the military or whatever, and I had to really modify that over time. And I was like, hey, the military is not for everybody. School isn't for everybody. But guess what? Plumbers make 6 figures a year. Electricians make 6 figures. I said, also, there is an aspect that I didn't have before that I've added is think about going to work overseas. So I've had to start adding that in, because that's I say, I'm not talking about no war zone. You can go to Philippines and places like that, because people always think I'm thinking about Iraq and no, you can go to Philippines and make they got this group on Facebook. I'm just now finding this group of us going to the Philippines to live, and they're thriving. They're not just existing; they're thriving over there because of the money. They have a VA over there. They got way better health care. And they call them expats. So the expat people are going over there, become an expat, living. My sister is thinking about moving to Panama.
Panama is for expats. It is a great haven, because number one, they use our dollars. Yep. Number two, just like here in Texas is big. You go to a restaurant or a venue and they'll give you veterans discount. Well, it's the same thing in Panama. If you're an expat coming from the United States, you get discounts for shopping at different venues. So it's very beneficial. Panama is a big
we went
one.
there on vacation.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah. Panama is a big one. Portugal is another big one. You'll start to see a lot of us. South Africa.
Yes.
And Ghana. But
Ghana,
South Africa, I've been doing some research, and that's a big place for us.
A white guy came up to me. Me and a friend were talking about, hey, the first president, his first election, a white guy stopped us in a parking lot, was like, hey, I'm getting a house built right now in Ghana. We were like, whoa, because we were just talking about, hey, man, you think about moving out of the country, and all that stuff. And he was like, tell all your friends. He said, tell everybody, go to Ghana and get a house built. And what he does is the people that are building it, he allowed them to live on the compound while they're building. And then they take care of the grounds and they take care of it. Then he said, I call them and say, hey, we're coming over for 2 weeks. Then they go somewhere else. But he let them live there while they're building. He said, I'm telling you. He said, I know I'm a white guy. Y'all, he was playing. He said, tell everybody you know, go to Ghana, dual citizenship or whatever you got to do, and get a house built. Because when this over here goes crazy, you need to be able to pop some smoke.
You know what, man? I don't know why that just didn't sit well with me, because I'm like, if a white guy tells me, I mean, let me let me preface it by, no, it's not a racist thing. However, the first thing that came to my mind was, no, I'm not coming over there so I can work for you. You know, like
that's what I was thinking.
Right. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm just, for whatever reason, and that's the thing. That's the conditioning, right? Like it's like, unfortunately, the country we live in has conditioned us to have to be defensive and cautious.
Yeah.
With everything. And
so I see my response, my smart aleck says, so you want me to come over there to work for you? Is that what you're telling me?
Right.
On the continent?
There you go. And look, what'd he say? Tell everybody you know. No, I'm not telling everybody I know to call. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
Work for you. He was like, just buy a house over there.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
We are conditioned, sir. We are conditioned.
Right. And unfortunately, the impact of that is it causes us. We're already started at a deficit. We were starting from behind.
Yeah.
And that continual conditioning is meant, I think, to keep us behind. And who knows? That could have been a blessing, right? But I blocked my own blessing. Nah, partner. No, I'm not. I'm not coming over there. I'm not doing that.
I think as a people, we're doing okay in this country. We've always been able to find our little niches.
Yeah.
And we work above, around, and below the system. We can grow stuff. We barter. We got somebody bringing over you grow this, I grow that. But this stuff. One guy podcast I'm listening to, he's like, no matter which party is in, they ain't never been nothing for us. Neither one of them. So we sitting back.
Here's what I want to do, man. I want to end this on something lighter, because the stuff been kind of heavy. It been kind of heavy. So, give me, thinking back on your military career, within reason, give me an experience, both of you, an experience that impacted you within reason. All right, it's a family show. An experience that impacted you, stuck with you to this day, that still influences maybe your character, the way you behave, the way you carry yourself, or just had a profound impact on you. Whatever that is, within reason.
You want to go, Reggie? You want me? The gentleman I spoke of, I said he was one of the smartest people I've ever met. Curtis Massenberg. He's over in Saudi. He got over there. He grew up Christian. He converted to Islam.
Mm-hmm.
And during his time as an instructor at Fort Gordon, you know how we have an exchange of foreign troops who come through our schools.
Right.
He taught one, and he stayed connected with that individual to the point when he got out and moved over there and started his business. And he said something to me. We went over there about 2 years ago, my friend and who lives there in Georgia, in the Atlanta metro area. We went over there to not only see him, but to give him some insight based on our experience working in corporate America, working in government, so he could parlay that information into his business. Okay. And he said something to me that I was like, wow. And he stated that he watched the moves that I made, that our other mutual friend made when we decided to get out, because we were fast tracking. He made E6 in, I think, right at 6. I made it, I think 7. We're fast tracking. We're going to make E7 below the board. We ain't no doubt about it. And he said, we inspired him to have that confidence to step out. But when I stepped out, I was like, oh man, what am I going to do? I got to get a job. I got to do X, Y, Z.
Right.
I had to figure it out. But I say all that to say this: people are watching you.
There you go.
Unbeknownst to you, people are watching you. And even going back to this young lady I grew up with, and this is going back to elementary school, and she was giving all the fathers a shout out. And every person she was giving a shout out to, she would say a little quip about them. And when she got to me, and she called me GH, she says, I remember you taking up for me on the playground when we were kids, and you were always that individual who would take up for people. And oh man, that hit my heart, because this is like fifth, sixth grade on the playground. You know, when you have recess and all that thing, and she still remembered that. So I say this to say, when you're walking through this life, man, people are watching you, whether you think so or not. And you may be influencing people more than you think. So just, I try to watch how I'm not perfect by no means, but I try to walk a certain way and be respectful of people who come through my life, in how I move.
Right.
How I move. Yeah. So okay. I think that's one thing that's I could go on. Yeah.
All right. Appreciate you.
For me, I was a first sergeant, so and I get a phone call at home out of the blue. Well, one thing I have never done is deleted my soldiers out of my phone. So even from other duty stations, I still had their number. So this kid called me, and first of all, he was a cook. So, and I grew up a generator mechanic. So that our paths were different, in working and everything. But I was in leadership over him. And he called me and he was like, hey, I just want to tell you and thank you for always being there for me, always motivating me. And I've never tried, that wasn't my goal to, because I think if you go out to be a motivational speaker, in the Army, you're going to come off as disingenuous. So he called and thanked me, and that really touched me. That was like, wow, I wasn't expecting that. There was whole nother duty station. He said his pastor had challenged them to call someone who has directly influenced their lives for the better. And that really, I was like, man, I really appreciate it. Now, I've had soldiers, you know, and for me, there are some first sergeants who don't like to be called top, which is crazy to me. But for me, that's a term of endearment. When your soldiers call you top, they know you care. And a lot of people, I'm not a toy. Don't call me top. Tops are toys. I've had a first sergeant tell me that because I said, hey, top. He was like, I don't like to be called top. Okay. But anyway, so yeah, that was that one kid. He said his pastor told him this kid was he was off the chain, and he came in the army almost like the government, like, hey, army, jail, type thing. Well, he went to, as a teenager, he went to South America with a construction crew, learned Portuguese just by being around it, married a lady from down there, came back, got in the army. And that blew me away because I heard him speaking Portuguese. I was like, when did you learn Portuguese? Because he was white. When did you learn Portuguese? And he told me his story, but then I moved on and everything. But he called me, and that was the one right there. That let me see that, like you said, G, people are watching you.
Yeah.
People are watching. So yeah, that was it for me. He called me.
Well, mine isn't so inspirational.
But it's yours.
Nah, man. So something that impacted me to this day, and it showed up in my whole civilian career. Basic training, BRM. When I first started shooting, I couldn't shoot for nothing.
Ooh.
It was so bad that first of all, I didn't know I needed glasses until you do your intake, and then it was like, oh, you need glasses. So I was walking around with them birth controls on, right? Them brown, back in the day, they were just brown birth controls.
Yeah, we know.
Right. So it was so bad that when I was out there shooting, trying to qualify, I had the rear sight so close to me that it was hitting my glasses and it was scratching it. That's just how goofy I was shooting. And I was the dude that was on the range. I was 8 up. When, the drill sergeants had those paddles out, the green and the red side, ready on the left, ready on the right, all of that. For whatever reason, I was absent-minded. I would be looking at stuff, and every time I look around, one of them drill sergeants would hit me in the back of the Kevlar pot with one of them paddles. Pow! And it scared me. So I was out on the range, terrified. Like, oh, okay, pay attention. But over time, I think BRM was like 3 weeks. And by qualification, I was one of the best shooters, right? I had to get new glasses because it was scratched from me. But then I learned how to shoot. All of a sudden, now pop-up targets, I'm knocking them down. I don't miss. Well, now it's time to qualify. And I'm out there, I'll never forget. Prone, unsupported, laying there, I'm knocking them down. And then there was this thing where the commander said, I'm talking company commander said, anybody shoot Hawkeye, I'm taking you to McDonald's.
Mm.
When you in basic, right? McDonald's? Oh, yeah. So I'm out there knocking them down. Pow, pow. Because first is prone supported.
Yeah.
And you in the foxhole.
Yeah.
20 out of 20. Oh, I got this. Now now it's prone unsupported. I'm out there. Pow, pow. We get to now that second 20-round magazine. I think I might have been on shot 16. Click.
Oh.
But sports, right? Slap, pull, observe, release, tap, squeeze. Pow. Got the target. Next one come up. Click. No problem. Slap, pull, observe, release, tap, squeeze. Pow. So now I got 2 targets left. All I got to do is reach over, get the rounds, put them in. I know what I'm doing. But at the corner of my eye, I seen a drill sergeant boot. And I didn't know if I was allowed to reach over and get these rounds. So the targets popped up. I just looked at it, man. Like,
oh,
the next target popped up. I just looked at it. So I shot 38 out of 40. I look at the drill sergeant. He fold his arms and walk off. It was his fault because he hit me with that paddle on the back of my head, right? So he had me trained to not think. He had me trained to just do what I'm told. They never taught us to put a round in and all that. That's just, you just knew how to do it, but that wasn't part of BRM. You shoot what's in your magazine. So you fast forward now, I'm in PLDC. Man, I'm talking about, I'm banging it out in PLDC. My partners, they all like, because the thing in PLDC was the commandant's list.
Mm-hmm.
But the top 2 slots get recognized at graduation, right? Oh, Rose, you about to be what they used to say? You about to be comrade of the year. They teasing me like, hey, you doing this thing? We on our final inspection. I think I'm tied for top in the class. I'm tied. So I know I'm gonna be recognized at the graduation. Sergeant Major comes in, does the inspection. My uniforms are crisp in the closet. I never touched them. He comes through, went straight to the button and found the tag from the cleaners and dropped it on the floor. That dropped me down to number 3. So now I'm one of 40 on the commandant's list. I'm no better than the other 40. And these 2 white guys got recognized at graduation. Scores was good, but I got that demerit because of that tag. So it taught me to pay attention to detail, right? Because it just, I was devastated. Everybody else was like, man, you made my partners, they didn't even make it top 40. They wasn't even on the list. They was I didn't even make it on the list. But I was devastated because I was like, man, I worked so hard and to lose it right at the end. So my entire working career, I took what I learned in the military. I was a hard charger. I was paying attention to detail, whatever. And I climbed the ladder, on the corporate side. And you talk about the positions I've held over the years. And I attribute that to I'm doing the extra things that other people weren't doing. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it just, I climb. And that showed me about achievement. But what the ultimate lesson was, well, dude, I wasn't fun to work around either. I was about getting it. I was that dude, But what it showed me was, unless you're working within your calling towards your purpose, no matter what you achieve, you're going to still feel empty inside. Bro, I made it to the top of my field. And to this day, I'm sick to my stomach. Anyone says, hey, man, we got the CIO position over here. I get sick to my stomach. Man, no, get away. I don't even want to do that. You know what I mean? I know I could do it. I know I could, there's money that comes with it and all that other stuff. But the military taught me the what and the how, right? Here's what you got to do to get there. Here's how you go about doing it. So I know how to climb. The military did not teach me to look for my purpose. And so I'm climbing the ladder. I'm climbing the wrong ladder. Let me just say it that way. Okay. You know what I mean? And now you see, years later, decades later, I'm pursuing my purpose, with this stuff back here. And no money comes with this. No, you know what I mean? No accolades, none of that. I'm pursuing my purpose now. And, but that's what the military taught me. And to this day, man, I hear that ringing in my ears from dude hit me on the back of the head. Pow! It's like, yo. But they wanted soldiers. They wanted someone to, do what you're supposed to do, not free thinkers. And had I been a free thinker, I would just reach over there and did what I had to do and shot, 40 out of 40. Hawkeye. But anyway, that's my thing. Yeah, I had to admit the kid did get smacked in the back of the head. I got smoked.
But now you're free thinking and you're critical thinking.
There you go.
And that's what the uppers don't want. So you're a danger, and they will be checking your phone.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Here y'all go saying stuff that's going to have me all hemmed up now. Gentlemen.
No, I didn't let loose.
I know, but
I didn't let loose.
We need to let loose next time, because that's what leads to clicks. That's according to the influencers, right? No, but look, thank you, man. I really appreciate you guys.
I really appreciate you guys. Anytime.
Yeah, we need to do this again.
Yeah.
We need to do this more often, regularly, if you guys are available. We'll go from there, man. We'll set something up, whatever your schedules will allow, and because there are so many things we did not touch.
There's always room for more.
Yeah. So again,
and I do have to get up out of here.
Yeah. Thank you, brothers. I appreciate it, and we will get together next time.
All right.
Salute.
All right, brother.
All right. See you later.
All right.